Alright, welcome back to the stream. Sorry about that noisy start. Like overanalyzing how much this chair is creaking now. But the other chair also creaks, just not nearly as much. Anyway, welcome back to the stream. Here's Tuco. Should make that a little quieter. Welcome back. We are fussing around with getting Linux to run in a reasonable manner on this weird old 486 based voting machine motherboard. And I don't have like a super chunky bit of problem space to dig into tonight. I think tonight might be a bit more chill, random kind of stream. Probably not super long either, but we have basically an okay storage and connectivity situation at this moment on the computer. We have 2 PC card slots that both seem to work, and I've got one filled with a 10 base T network card and the other with a couple of adapters that culminate to give us a 64 gigabyte SD card. So this machine now has a 64 megabyte card that it's booting off of and a 64 gig card that we can use for more bulk storage. And just to make things a bit more convenient for development purposes, I've been trying to get kind of the main root file system onto the network using network block device. So my current strategy for this is that the 64 megabyte card has grub and the kernel, and actually just like a full-on small root file system that you can use for basic shell stuff in a self-contained way. So a bit like an init-rd. I don't know if I actually want it to be an init-rd though, because I think I actually want it to be a disk device and not a RAM disk. Although we could really go either way on that. It doesn't seem to hugely matter. The 64 megabyte device is mostly there as a way to get the network and PC cards started up, and just a good place to put things like grub and the kernel modules. So all the kernel level stuff lives there, and then I have just another user space root file system over on the network that I'm also building, and that has more of the large things like the X server. And I mean, the X server itself isn't that big, but there's a lot of kind of large stuff that ends up going with the whole GUI environment. So that was certainly a pain to try to get bits of that to fit on the 64 meg card enough to test them. So I've got this like arbitrarily large space that I can use just a scratch space on the PC card slot now. But then I've also got this currently 1 gigabyte image that I'm building that includes things like our modified X server and some apps that we might want to run. So let's try that maybe. Hello, welcome back to the stream. I found a bit of a complication on our interrupt situation between streams. I don't know that we need to deal with it right now, but we stuck a workaround in the kernel on the last stream to avoid one of the system's IRQs, IRQ3, and that seemed to fix the network and storage situation with the PC card slots. I noticed in between streams, though, that I was still getting some of those Ethernet IRQ errors, and so then I was really dismayed. I thought, like, oh, maybe we didn't actually fix the problem. Maybe we were just masking it through having the interrupt shared with the serial port. Maybe we were just getting enough serial port interrupts often enough that we were getting a chance to check for PC card interrupts. So I ran another experiment just right before doing this stream where I was not using the serial port as well, first of all, I didn't use the serial port for anything. And I actually had that same problem where basically the network IRQs were non-functional, even though they were on a different IRQ. IRQ3 was still reserved. The parallel ATA card was still on some kind of configuration that seemed to be working, but the network card was dropping IRQs. So that was interesting. I wanted to try to understand what was going on there. And then I think the stage of understanding that I'm at now is it looks like that's basically how it works, with the PC card interrupts not being delivered when the interrupt is not being shared. But then it seems like when I started using the serial port, so opening the serial port, getting the interrupt registered, but not actually causing any IRQs on the serial port, seemed to be enough to get the network card to start working again with full IRQs. So that's still like a half-baked hypothesis at this point based on a couple of data points, but that's like an interesting thing to look into. Maybe like if there's maybe something not set right in the IRQ controller that is getting set for some drivers but not for PCMCIA drivers, or maybe not for this network driver. I don't know. It's like starting to feel like that kind of problem. So I've got something that kind of works right now, but it's not fully debugged. This is not serial, so I'm going to boot this. The glare on the screen is not wonderful, is it? Really? I made a couple of small changes between streams. I was just trying to modular or unmodularize some of the modules that I was just always loading. So I tried building the PC card network driver into the kernel. Oh, that's right. I tried actually. I had sys in fstab for a minute, and I don't think I actually want that. I think I want to let udev mount /sys. This maybe means I regenerate this init script and try this again. Yeah, I modified my fstab so it just has kind of normal fstab things in it. And the /home is not set to auto mount, because I don't think I want that to load very early at all. So before these PCMCIA socket startup things, I actually have to have sys mounted. Just that, maybe. keep wanting to start these streams earlier in the day, but here we are. Today was a bit much. I'm hoping tomorrow is not so much. Tuco, he loves those head rubs. Man, I've got to be careful to like reload the YouTube chat client or it doesn't actually connect to the current stream. Oh, that's an interesting suggestion. Someone in chat was curious what my ultimate goal was for this project, and they suggested it would be cool to train Tuco to vote for his favorite treats, kind of Pavlovian style. That would be interesting. I don't know if Tuco is extremely into things that appear on screens. It might be difficult to get him to be interested in the screen unless it smells like something particular. My goal on this project was mostly to turn this into something that would be useful as a prop for some videos, whereas right now it's been something that is mostly broken and just taking up space in my garage. But like ultimately this is more about the journey than the end goal, I think. Although I'm trying to actually have something that I can use to make interesting videos with too. The network block device. Networked, big deal. Tuco would probably vote for the more plastic bolts party. Yeah, probably. He's been into some other plastic things too lately. Like, my housemate had like a shelving unit that had those little like cams that lock pieces together, and he was pretty into one of those. He's also just really into feathers, you know, normal cat stuff. Are we doing this? Oh, we're back at a prompt, but I can't quite read it. Well, we have the sockets set up with resources, so like Sisyphus and the PCMCIA socket init worked out, but still no network adapter. Why does that not think we have a socket? This is a different problem than I was having with the binding last time, because before I wasn't even getting a sysbus PCMCIA devices. I've got that now, it's just not binding to the driver. And like, I have no modules, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't look like the other socket's driver bound either. Like, I don't have a dev SDB. I don't have a PCMCIA parallel ATA driver. Oops. That was actually fine. Gosh. I don't think I changed anything here, except maybe the order things initialize in. Like, did we actually need socket startup to happen before the driver loads? It does kind of look like that's what was going on. Okay, maybe we keep those as kernel modules, gosh. So I added a bunch of packages, added a network interfaces file, set up key map, set up host names, rc update add udev, took sys and kernel fs out of fs tab, added /home, added an explicit mount for sysfs. That all seems fine. I think right now kind of my top couple of to-do items for this are to sort of like stabilize and feel out this particular Linux distro and like see how well things are working. Like I still haven't even really managed to run stuff like Wine and Micropolis like in a sane environment on this system. So like just having the rootfs actually built and configured properly and then being able to install larger packages in it like mostly works but needs some actual fixing. Touchscreen and keyboard in Xorg are high priorities. Keyboard, I'm assuming, is just not working because I'm missing some mapping files or something. I just need to understand that problem. And the touchscreen could have multiple problems. I'm still not sure how reliable the hardware is at this point. It also might be that we need to be able to send a command to the touchscreen controller to reset it before it works reliably. And then there's just like getting the driver attached properly. I have a driver in the kernel that theoretically handles this touchscreen, but I don't actually know how to attach it to the particular serial port we have. So I suspect that's a matter of just reading some source code and documentation and trying to figure out what commands to issue and like what to cat into what in /sys. Speaking of cat. The late night watching the compact flashcard flash streams, right? Probably not gonna I'm not gonna let this one run too long because I do actually want to start running these streams early, and staying up late streaming is probably not a great way to get started on the stream earlier. Is there some documentation for that touchscreen driver I could be looking at while this is flashing? Boot. Oh, Tuco likes printers. Tuco might just vote for whatever produces the longest printout from the voting machine. Gosh, I had one failure earlier today where it complained that it couldn't decompress Linux. I'm assuming my card got corrupted somehow, but I don't even know how that happened. Yeah, okay, so now we're back to loading the PCMCIA network driver. I'm assuming that's just like a load order thing. Like if they load in the other order, there's probably some other binding step that I'm missing. Whereas if they load in this order, the binding happens automatically. Cool, that's seeming to smoothly be switching over to the network block device root file system. Did I put wine in this? Like, which X11 packages did I even put in? I put a whole desktop environment in here just earlier today. Oh, there you are. Oh yeah, so we should have XFC for... I didn't actually put wine in here, though. I should have. I'll put that on the next build. Oh, and I finally stuck UDEV in the... what is it? RC update? Yeah. Oh, the NTP offset, right? Yeah, I haven't debugged the hardware clock issues with this. The CMOS battery should be fine. It's like a user replaceable pack of AA's, and I checked the voltage pretty recently. I don't think that's a problem. And if the CMOS memory gets cleared, we also can't boot until we reset the hard disk settings in the BIOS. So I think that there's just some disagreement about year-related functionality. Basically, this is a Y2K bug issue. So like it often resets the year to either 1999 or 2099, depending on like what path I'm taking to boot. So there we got a couple of those interrupt dropped warnings. My theory at this point is that those couple of interrupt dropped warnings came from before we started a console on TTYS2, and then somehow the process of opening a console on TTYS2 and starting to share that interrupt has masked the bug. Like, sharing that interrupt is now causing the interrupts for the network adapter to actually be delivered, it looks like. Because we're not actively using TTYS2 here, but we're getting like frequent enough interrupts for the network adapter now. And the ping times are fine, like 3 milliseconds. Totally fine for a 486. So, weird interrupt bug, right? But at least we can dodge it for a while, maybe. Alright, how far do we get in doing X11 flavored stuff? I thought I fixed the host name. I should just write my own hosts file and stick it in Git. Oh, Duke streaming. Yeah, the NTP offset was a bit of a problem for anything using SSL. That was what prompted me to actually fix the time. Are we going to be stuck at a black screen for a while? Can I just do that? tshark-y-nbd? I think I can. Thanks, Deep Packet Inspection. I didn't even have to tell it what port I'm using. So it's not necessarily crashed. It could just still be loading. Hey, Tuco. Squeaky. What? Hey. Sweet boy. What was that other thing that was not a read that scrolled by? Oh. Some fragmentation. I wonder if this is more X keyboard stuff. Because if it is generating some kind of keyboard database, that could be doing a bunch of disk I/O, and that might be a reasonable thing for it to be doing right now. It'd be cool if we didn't have to do it on the 486 though, if we could like pre-generate these. One thing I do want to do after letting this thing boot is basically diff the disk image and see what it actually wrote. Hey, Tuco. Gosh. What are we even doing here? Tuco? He's staring menacingly at that green screen. Oh, there's a comment that the terminal looks like it needs color coding. You mean the T-Shark? I mean, if I've got a serial terminal, I could also check the X11 log. I thought I had a serial terminal. It could just be wedged. Oh yeah, no, it's just taken a long time to respond. I don't don't think logging in and asking it to do more things right now is going to help. Oh, should we try asking T-Shark for color? Sure, we might as well. Dash dash color. I don't think that changed anything. Hey, Duco. Oh. It's quite possible there's something else that's not enabled that it would need to actually colorize this. It's possible it is colorizing this and all the packets are just the same color. Even just like pressing enter at Getty is not really a great time here. It did seem like X was trying to do some kind of keyboard symbol compilation step when it started. And I don't know how complicated that is, but it seemed to involve like make files and large numbers of tiny files. So I could imagine this hard disk access pattern is actually related to that and isn't just a bug. But it is hard to tell whether it's making any progress or whether it's just relatively wedged. Like, I haven't been noticing the same addresses going by, though. What is this program called? XKB Sims? That's a funny first hit. Are you... Somebody searches for XKB Sims and the first hit is, are you dating a guy that seems too good to be true? Why, that's always the problem when I'm searching for XKB Sims. How did you know? Why are these search results so bad? Is Google any better at this? Wow. This must have just gotten used for some kind of spam campaign or something. Because like both Google and DuckDuck are turning up just garbage for searching XKB Sims, which I thought was an X11 utility. Interesting. Let's try just using different words. What does Arch have to say about this? I think these are all different steps than the one I think it was failing on. I don't know. Are we making progress still? Ooh, I wonder if it's not making progress anymore. Maybe I should add swap space. I don't know if that's the problem, but I certainly have a hunch that it would do better with swap space. Anything to do before I just reboot this? Doesn't seem like it. Hello, hello. Okay, so maybe the next iteration of this image adds some packages that I forgot, like wine, but also it does seem like I want swap space on the local SD card. So I'm going to repartition that disk. Okay, mod probe parallelity PCMCIA. So wait, we are getting dropped interrupts right now. Let's investigate that briefly. So proc interrupts shows the network card has just 2 IRQs, which probably means that those... that's an interesting number, right? Like having a small number of IRQs that is not 0 but is also not growing, to me points to maybe a problem with acknowledging the IRQs. Right? Like maybe an IRQ is happening, but we're not actually successfully resetting the IRQ controller after that into a state that lets us get another IRQ. But then my theory is that somehow opening the serial port acts as a workaround for that. So let's try that. Okay, so I started a cat in the background to just wait on the serial port for no reason. And you can see now that interrupt 5 is shared between the network card, which is that PCMCIA 1.0, and TTYS2. And I don't see any more IRQ messages. See a lot more interrupts coming in, right? And this latency is fine. Oh, I can't control C, no. Okay, let's try that again, because I still need to partition that disk. Showing off with my unkillable pings. camera says it's overheating again. This is cranky. I think there's some modification that I can make to change the threshold temperature. Because I think it's just, I think part of it is that the camera does actually get warm, but then part of it is that it has a really oversensitive thermostat for its auto shut off by default. Okay, let's do a before and after ping comparison. Let's do, what is it, ping-n. -C. Right, so here's, with the interrupts getting dropped, we have 20 milliseconds or 10 milliseconds of latency. Right, that seems to be multiples of 10 milliseconds, which to me points pretty strongly at the that media polling cycle that they were doing in the driver. I think that must be it on a 10 millisecond timer. So then just allocate an IRQ on that serial port by doing a cat on it. Yeah, it's a pretty reliable test right there. So we can look closely at that soon, but it doesn't seem to be urgent. But now I can fdisk in peace. Maybe I still need to mod probe that. P80A, PCMCIA. Cool. I don't need to keep that. I kind of want to use like most of the disk for this. Okay, I've got like 8 gigs of swap. That should be plenty. I should really have E2FS tools in even my base image. Was it E2FS tools or E2FS progs? I might have got that wrong. Yeah. That's gonna fail in a second, right? Man, it sucks not having terminal control or like multiple TTYs. Come on, okay. What? Oh! I might need to compile the kernel again. I thought we wouldn't need swap support, so I might have compiled the kernel without swap. I wouldn't touch that. That's a load-bearing serial port. That's exactly... right? Just opening the serial port makes the network card work. It's beautiful. Every program should be like this. Paging of anonymous memory. All right. Anything else terrible that I already disabled? Oh. This is unrelated, but let's throw that in there. Okay. Small change. I need to have an FS tab. That's already fine. Swap on. Okay, this will be what I'm calling /home. Oh, there's a comment from chat that they missed why the serial port is load bearing. It's still a slight mystery here. So all I know at this point is that under most configurations, I'm failing to get any IRQs beyond possibly the first two from the network card. And I thought it was a problem related to the PCMCIA subsystem, and then it started to seem more like it was a problem related to just one of the PC IRQs, IRQ3. So I made a kernel patch to just reserve that IRQ, and at first that seemed to fix it, and then I realized that it only fixed it when one of the serial ports, which was also sharing that same IRQ, was opened, meaning that the IRQ was allocated and in a mode where it's shared between two handlers. So if the IRQ is allocated but only to the network card, I failed to get any. If the IRQ is allocated but shared with the serial port, even when the serial port is completely idle, this fixes the network card. So that's the current mystery with the interrupt system. And I mean, I'm a little baffled. Currently, my best guess is that it might be something weird with the interrupt controller, which, I mean, for all I know, this could be more chipset errata because the interrupt controller here is part of the AM486 here. I mean, not part of the AM486 core, but part of the system on chip that's associated with the AM486. So we can let this create the file system, but I do actually want to build a new image. Build all the things. I mean, we sort of are building all the things, but they're mostly cached. I've already lost track of how many kernels we've compiled tonight. Is this 2 or 3? Gosh, I still remember when it took like 30 minutes to compile a Linux kernel. That used to be the absolute benchmark for so many things. Like compilers, compile a Linux kernel. Internet connection, download a Linux kernel. File system, untar a Linux kernel. It's just like the easy, lazy benchmark that all the Linux developers can do. Yay. 49 gigs free. Is this still the most recent kernel? Oh. Should we upgrade to 5.15? Gosh, now I feel like a chump for compiling an old kernel. Maybe we should just do that. Let's check this in separately in case there's a problem. What did that say? 5.15.1? I'm just going to change the version number in the script and see what breaks. I mean, last time I bumped it, nothing broke. Gotta make sure to keep the 486 on bleeding edge kernels so that I know the moment they break it. Oh man. Yeah, today was a long day, but I got a very satisfying piece of trash removed from my body. That was nice. Kernel. Next time we run menu config, we'll get an updated config file for this kernel too in case there are any new things. I want maybe like htop. We could even have Wireshark, right? Why not? Actually, I'm not sure I compiled the kernel with network monitoring support. I think I did. Oh, hey, Tuco. Tuco's just trying to stand wherever I'm typing. Oh, don't. Oh, Tuco, what are you doing? Tuco, is that warm? Wake up, camera. Are you pulling my leg? Someone's saying in chat that there was a changelog entry in the 5.15 kernel to make some IRQ improvements for 486. Gosh, I'm glad Tuco is not on the same side of this board as the high voltage. Oh gosh, you're serious? What are the chances? Yeah, maybe if Tuco likes the touchscreen, maybe he should vote. I didn't expect that he would like the screen. Oh, careful, Tuco. There's some high voltage under there. I mean, I think his tail's probably a pretty good insulator. Don't want to find out, though. Makes me so happy interacting with Tuco. Hey, Tuco. You see that? Hello, camera. Oh, I don't even have Figlet. How am I supposed to have a... How am I supposed to not have Figlet? I probably don't even have C matrix. Gotta put the classics on. Yeah, okay, no. Halt. We missed something important. We need C matrix and Figlet in addition to H-top and Wireshark. I have a line of just packages that are probably unnecessary. It's okay though, all this disk space is basically free because it's on a large networked server. So, an entire gigabyte, unfathomable amounts of storage, right? I mean, now this machine has a local 64 gig drive. It'd be nice if I could use the local 64 gig drive as just a transparent cache of the network storage. Oh, don't forget to add Fortune. Good point. We should add Fortune. Is that just called Fortune in Alpine? Yep. Is there a separate database? Yeah, no, that's funny. I'll have to look closer at that patch. There's a link in chat, but I can't easily get to it from this machine. I might just type it in though. That's amazing. Oh. Weird. Okay, that is a different retro niche than we're currently in. This is for 486s that also have PCI, but that's quite interesting. Oh, I actually have to put the card in if I want to flash it. Sorry, Tuco, your heater will be slightly cooler for just a second. That's only like a 30-watt heater, right? No, not even that. It's like an 18 or 20-watt heater, maybe. Couple other package suggestions: Moonbuggy and SL. I've heard of SL, although I haven't actually tried installing it. I don't know what Moonbuggy even is. Okay, I'm gonna stop fussing with the package list and actually let this one flash. I mean, we can regenerate the network block device image pretty easily. The reflashing here is just for the small image that has the kernel and the network setup and the PCMCIA setup on it. Improvements to the floppy driver. Oh, that's cool. I feel like the floppy support on this machine should be relatively mainstream because it uses a pretty common Super I/O chip. So like the entire floppy implementation on this should be extremely normal, unlike the system on chip. Yeah, everything on the Super I/O chip should be fairly predictable. The floppy, the parallel port, the IDE interface, although IDE is like basically a non-interface. It's just like it's just a chip select basically. I did compile a driver for the floppy. I made it a module, but we do have it. I feel like the only thing we'd need to get floppy working on this is a little bit of cabling. You know what, Spambot? I actually don't want to become famous. It's pretty sad though, like chatbots like jumping into small streams and asking if they want to like pay to become popular. Like, sure is great that this is the internet we built. Oh, why don't I have SDB2 to go? Probe failed. is error 12 anyway? I feel like I should know this. It's not just invalid or ebad param or something like that, or inval. Oh, come on, USB. Do I not even have kernel headers on here? No mem? Normally, I would assume that an enomem there would be not like a literal out of memory, but like some resource allocation failure that's being interpreted as an enomem at some point. With this system, though, I don't know. It could go either way. Yeah, why are we just getting that now, though? That doesn't really make sense. Is this out of mapping memory or out of IRQs? Is it different if I unload the network driver? That time it probed. This didn't actually load, did it? Yeah. To go. Oh. Hey, fuzzboy. So I have like a different interrupt situation going on now. Oh, don't stand on the whole thing, honey. Tuco, that's a little heavy for the touchscreen. Tuco. I don't know about that. I'm obviously done working on this for today. I mean, this is clearly just the interrupt issue failing in a slightly different way, I think. I could be wrong about that, but I'm guessing that we just had a very, very fragile situation under which the two card drivers both loaded correctly. I don't have like a memory. Like, the thing that I would be doing right now if Tuco wasn't sitting on the screen is checking out all the resource allocations. So like proc interrupts, proc IO ports, proc IO mem. Tuco looks so comfortable and it doesn't seem to be hurting the screen. I mean, well, we can at least see the kernel version around Tuco. We've got 5.15.1 on our AM486. We have swap. I could just try running the X server. I mean, I do need network though. Was that the network driver loading? Oh, I think it was. It's really tempting just to swap the order of the two mod probes and then init shell script. Okay. Oh. I did another ping. Is this failing? Yeah, I got net that time. I'm trying to get this to boot reliably, and also I can't quite tell where it's failing with Tuco covering most of the screen. Is Tuco... have other cats sat on a voting machine screen? This is not a normal thing for a cat to do. I mean, it's completely the kind of place that he likes. It's just not a normal opportunity for cats to have. Someone's suggesting that I enable a remote network login service. Yeah, I'm getting there. I mean, I've got DropBear on the NBD image. I just need to get there before I actually have space for it. I could try to squeeze SSH into the small disk image. I don't know if there's a great reason to, though. I mean, the main remote login that I use is Serial, which is already set up and will start as soon as I actually reach init, or the right init run level. Gosh, copying that disk image to the Raspberry Pi is just so much faster than doing anything else with it. And it's just 100 base T even. Should I install SL on my development machine here? Am I going to regret that? Let's install it on... install it on there. Yeah, that's just as annoying as I expected it would be. Thank you. Oh, can you not control C SL? Of course. Oh, I hate it. I'm uninstalling this. Sudo apt purge SL. Thank you. Okay, what about Moonbuggy? Alexis is making fun of me for running it again right after I said I hate it. You know, I did just stuff my face with an entire bag of those extremely spicy potato chips today. I guess they're corn chips, but still. Yeah, I seem to just like the taste of poison sometimes. Oh, I want to hear about the absolutely no warranty. Oh man, the no warranty is so loud. I want to learn about how to apply these terms to your new programs. Wow, I just have to add copyright year, name of author, and then talk about the new general public license and the good news from Richard Stallman version 69. Yeah. Was that always 69 and we just didn't notice it? Anyway, start game. Oh, okay. That's fine. Knomb. Om. Knomb. Knomb. That's what the crash sounds like. Oh no, keyboard repeat. Thanks, keyboard repeat. How does it know my name? Yeah, I'm not very good at this. Game aborted. Oh, that finished flashing and just went right into the NBD server because I told it to. Soak in that BIOS toque. It's a question about Chips Challenge. I forget if I ever played that. I'm sure I tried it at some point because that was one of those games that everybody tried, but I don't remember which one that was. Was that like the Sokoban kind of thing? Oh, you're talking about the hot spicy chip, not the game. Oh. No, I just got like the regular bag of these that you can get at the gas station. I don't know how much spicier their singular chip is. What did we fail? Tuco. I guess I should just boot with Serial Console since Tuco's on the screen. Do I have to remember which entry it was on the grub menu? I think I want the fourth item. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we're getting that parallel ATA PCMCIA probe error again. Oh. IRQ flags mismatch? I kind of want to try this exact same experiment, but with the kernel version bumped back, just so I can make sure that that's the only difference here. I agree. There's a good comment that cat dev ttys2 seems to be more effective than cat on dev fb0. My hypothesis right here at the moment is that maybe there is some extra checking in Linux 5.15 that could be pointing to the underlying problem in the IRQ here, but that maybe simultaneously it broke the kludge that was making it work briefly. If that actually turns out to be the case, though, then it would be pretty interesting to look at what was changed between kernel versions, to get a few hints as to what's going on. It's also possible that I look for where that IRQ flags message is coming from, and things are just obvious from there. But if we do need more hints, then like having two kernel versions that are nearby that differ in how your problem is expressed is always a small blessing in debugging. I haven't looked up how what the differences are under the hood with Docker build kit versus the classic build engine, but it sure takes a while to actually export the image. So I'm wondering, I mean, like compared to everything else. You know, I should actually check into how the storage engine works now, because it's probably kind of interesting. I'm using Butterfuss on here, and I was noticing that it's like Docker is transparently just using Butterfuss subvolumes to store containers, which seems like a great way to do it. It does mean that the one time I tried to just copy my Docker directory between file systems and I didn't notice that it used Butterfuss subvolumes, it was completely messed up after that. But if I had noticed how it was laid out, then I probably could have just sent it easily. Copy. It's like, now that I have better storage options, it's kind of tempting to try to make this boot image as small as possible now. Like just grub and a kernel, maybe. I don't know. It is nice to have a bit of a local system. Okay. Same experiment, but with the kernel version bumped back. to the same serial boot. Okay, and we'll exec the regular init here. Ooh, same error here. So it was not actually kernel version. It might just be that my IRQ thing is generally flaky. Here's the flags mismatch too. I don't know what these flags are off the top of my head, but I'm curious if this is... I don't think it's the sharing flag, but I think there's a flag that was added to the kernel relatively recently, like more recently than the PCMCIA subsystem, that changes like the way like interrupt like bottom halves are handled or something like that. It might be something like that. But yeah, that's something to look at closer. This is the main problem right here. It could be a whole sub-investigation here to figure out exactly what this -12 is coming from. So this is enomem, which may mean it's out of memory, but we're not actually out of memory. Like, usually when this happens, it's some kind of out of resource error that is being represented as enomem. So this is just failing to boot because we don't have swap space now. So I could modify this by going back to the new kernel, but then making the swap space not required to boot. And we could at least be back on the network, but I don't know why we are not also on the storage device. I'm still not used to having odd numbers in stable kernels. Adding some notes about that, because I do actually want to fix that. Okay, this should be a quick build. There's one vote for kernel version 1.2. We could go to Minix. enomem and PCMCIA. I'm wondering whether the easiest way to debug that would be stepping through in GDB or just like turning on as much debug print K as I can find that might be related. I'm guessing GDB might actually be faster. The kernel GDB is actually quite convenient once you've got it set up. I'm very glad that the kernel GDB doesn't... Oh, actually, I'm not sure about that. I was going to be glad that the kernel GDB doesn't rely on the serial port interrupt, but I was thinking of grub GDB. I haven't verified how the kernel GDB actually talks to the serial port yet. But it seems to be working. Oh, Twitch raid is happening. Hello. Welcome, folks. This is pretty chill. I was just doing kind of a lazy late night debugging stream here at the end of kind of a exhausting day, and Tuco was sitting on the screen, so I mostly can't see it, but we're making do with the serial port. Let's see, the overall project here is basically just trying to run Linux in a sensible kind of way that is like at least usable for kind of messing around and being a prop in videos. And it's kind of a weird old computer. It's a voting machine motherboard based on a 486 system on chip. And right now I'm mostly just, well, I was waiting for it to copy this image to the card, but it's all done, so we're just going to boot off of it. Tuco sitting on the screen. Got a 64 meg compact flash card to boot off of, and then the rest of this image is on the network. Pretty low power here. That's the BIOS. Too good. Did the BIOS wake you up? Oh, careful, Tuke. I totally failed to pick the serial port. It is decompressing Linux around Tuco. I mean, if this actually boots, then we should just get a normal serial console in a sec. Oh, it didn't. Cannot find cat. Failed net cat. Bin sh can't cat. Prompt cat. That's about all I can read. Cat new device PCMCIA 0.0 cat cat CSIO cat cat ed cat. Oh yeah, we do have a good view of Tuco's thumb right there. Okay, I'll try to actually get the serial terminal. Okay. Okay. Same failures as before. We've got that weird flags mismatch, and then... Oh, and now we have a cannot find ETH0 also. Hmm. Yeah, we've got no network card now. We have sys. PC card control works. Gosh, this is annoying. I don't know why the network keeps coming and going like this. Huh. Did we just crash? I typed PC card insert 0 and it started to do some memory probing, and it looks like it crashed during the memory probing there. That is not memory it should be probing either. Right? No, okay, that memory is fine. I mean, unless we didn't reserve it in grub, but we should still be reserving the memory in grub. Well, this has definitely crashed. Gosh. Oh, good morning. Welcome to everyone in chat. Serial boot again. Okay. Why is this detecting no IRQ for port 1? That's interesting. Oh. Was this on IRQ 3, which I disabled? That might be what's going on. Right. Tuco is just completely parked on top of the screen and I can't read anything. I think he likes the warmth. Don't stand up. Tuco. I love you, boy, but I don't want you to crack my screen. Hey. Oh, he was squeaking so cutely for just a second. Now he clearly wants up. I'm going to do an experiment by modifying my init script to not load this parallel ATA module at all. Camera. Camera. Same problem there. What changed between now and when networking was fine? This is a weird problem. I don't know why, but sometimes the network doesn't load, and it's really not clear why. Like, the module is loaded, the PCMCIA slot, or the socket, exists, and then the socket detects a device in that socket. So we have a PC card device, which is this, and also sys, bus, PCMCIA devices. We have these two, so that's all fine. Somehow that's not actually getting associated with the 3C589 driver. Interesting. And then that reproduces the crash. If I eject and insert the card, it crashes during that memory probe. Okay, maybe we can investigate the resource assignments around that. This might just be a thing where I wrap up this stream soon and then make the next stream basically just a deeper dive into KGDB again, just trying to see what's actually going on with these interrupts. That seems fine. Well, that looks fine. Oh, Took. I don't know why it's trying to reprobe the I/O when I'm inserting on that socket. It doesn't seem to release the I/O when I eject on the socket. That hung too without giving us the same probe message. Yeah, I think this is just a new problem. I don't even know where this came from. I mean, I'm almost starting to suspect things like, oh, maybe I'm starting to get bad sectors on my CF card and I've got a corrupted kernel or something, but like, if that was happening, it would fail to decompress. I don't know. I mean, maybe a bad kernel module or something, but I thought my kernel modules were also compressed. It seems really unlikely that any disk error would manifest in this particular way. And this camera seems thoroughly out of coldness for today. Do I have anything I need to check in? I think I'm going to wrap this stream up approximately there. I'm going to try to get these started earlier and get a little more in depth with the kernel goings on here. It's just a little bit late right now for me to deal with all of that. So I think I'm going to try to quit while I'm not too far behind. Well, thanks everybody for dropping in and hanging out a little bit. And special thanks to everyone who contributes to the Patreon, and all the Tuco's fans out there giving him virtual hugs. I will see you all on the internet, and see you on the stream tomorrow if you want to drop by. I've been trying to stream every day on Twitch and YouTube and Diode Zone lately. So, happy hacking, folks. I will see you soon. Have a good day.